Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, where you can awaken your mind to clarity and success even in today's life challenges. We're here to provide insights and solutions that will help you live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Good day, everybody. This is Joanne Victoria with another episode of the Sanity Project podcast. You are here to discover a life of clarity, confidence, sanity, and entrepreneurial success. Our guest today is intriguing. Her name is Michelle Pontvert, spelled Pontvert, and Michelle is a branding and website designer with 12 years of design experience, specializing in working with overstretched parents with service-based businesses who are ready to scale up their business and scale back their overtime. Michelle has an MFA from the prestigious USC Film School in set design, which gave her a solid design background and a knack for creative problem solving, which shapes her business today. Michelle has also gone through the Designlab User Experience bootcamp to round out her web design training, along with several branding, web design, SEO, and marketing courses. And here from Paris, France, is Michelle Pontvert. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Joanne.
I'm grateful that you are here because your topic is going to be, it is uppermost in a lot of the listeners to this podcast, because you're going to help these people DIY, do it yourself, your website versus hiring a pro designer, because not all pro designers are pros. That's my take on it. So tell us first how you got here. What was your path to this place where you're helping people design their website? And yours is glorious, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you. So as you mentioned in my sort of introduction, I've always been in design in one form or another. I have a very visual sense. And I started off in film and TV. I was in California for my studies. I'm actually Australian originally, that's the accent. And I loved the work, but the lifestyle just did not suit me. I was working 14-hour days, driving most of the day. And when I met my now husband and started to think about having a family, I just couldn't see that making me happy. So about 7 years now, we up and moved to France without speaking a word of French. And I decided to pivot those skills that I picked up working on film and TV in set design into marketing, and found myself very quickly drawn to websites. And really a lot of those skills of, visual aesthetic and design, creative problem solving, logistics planning, all translated over really, really easily. And after my son was born and I needed a lot more freedom in my schedule and really wanted to take charge of my own sort of destiny, I decided to start my own business. And I love my life as a mother, and I'm very sort of passionate about supporting other women as they grow businesses alongside their families. So I've been very drawn to working with basically people like me a few years ago. So that's sort of how my business has come to be.
Well, that's the way it goes, isn't it? That we teach what we have to learn ourselves. So you made a good decision, because I know you're going to help the listeners today DIY their website. And what would you say is the biggest mistake that business owners with a website make?
I think underestimating what your website actually can do for your business. I think there's a kind of mentality that people can fall into, that we sort of treat our websites like a business card. It's something that we don't want to spend a lot of time or effort or money, frankly, to create. And that does a huge disservice to the business behind that website, because really when we do spend the energy to create a website that is structured correctly, that really presents your offers in a great, very sort of captivating way for the right fit clients, and make it easy for them to work with you, it can be a fantastic tool to market your business. And it's not that hard to get there. When you have that strategy in place, the execution truly isn't that hard.
It seems my own experience has been interesting with my website, since I've changed it several times. I've changed the right now it's askjoannevictoria.com. It used to be joannevictoria.com. And I figured since I was adjusting and adapting in my career of coaching, True Calling Coaching, that I would change the name. And then everybody had input. The writer who helped me write some of the content told me, this, and this. And, well, it seemed right, And my own website man primarily does what I tell him to do, and and it's not always correct, but I don't know that because I don't know what I don't know. And I think our audience probably is made up of a lot of people like me that don't know what they don't know.
So, I think already knowing that is a huge step forward, because when you are aware of your sort of limitations or where your interests lie, you can pick the either people or technology that supports that. And I feel so happy to be, alive and operating a business in this day and age where we have some truly fantastic, systems and platforms and softwares out there that make the process so much easier. So I really work on empowering people to use their own websites. I don't do retainers for that very reason. I really believe in, if I've created a custom site or if I've given people the tools to make their own, I think it's really important that they know how to use their website moving forward. And because of the times we live in, that's more and more possible.
I see that. And that's really important to the people who are listening right now, is how to do and when to do it. Because not all. And do you suggest, I know this is going to seem like a weird question, that the entire website, every page, is completed before you publish?
Oh, I am such a big believer in a minimal viable product. You need the basics well thought out and clearly, articulated. But if you can get a homepage that presents what your offer is, who it's for, and then lead them to some kind of page that tells them more about the offer, so a sales page, and then from there to some way to either book with you, book a call, send you a form, pay you somehow. That is the core of what that website needs to do to make it work for your business. You can always go in and tweak and adjust that. And I really do believe at the beginning of our business journeys that being flexible, being adaptable is so important, because you're learning what your business is going to really be about. You're learning about your ideal clients. You're learning about how you like to work, and locking yourself in with a really complicated, expensive, vast website at that stage is just handcuffs you don't need. Keeping it small and flexible is going to be really, really what serves you best at the early stage, so you can adapt and shift as your business changes too.
Yeah, I'm a proponent of adapting and shifting on every level. I see that a lot of people have recently design their websites, and they seem to me to be simple and easy to read. And I guess that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah, I come from a perspective of web design of putting the user first. So sure, you can make something really visually, aesthetically beautiful, but because our websites are, again, marketing tools at their essence, I think it's so much more important to make it clear and easy to use as the sort of focal point of what that website needs to do. The frills and the sort of design can come later. So I think leaning into the simplicity, the clarity, the ease of use is only going to serve you well as a business owner.
Yes, I noticed on your website you did have a client that you worked with, whose name I can't remember, not that it matters right now, but that you described what you did with her, how you helped her create the website, how it works, and this was all, and people can find that out at Michelle Pontvert at MICHELLEPONTVERT.com. And it'll be on everybody's page if they're looking at my website with Michelle's page on it. It's all printed there. Everything is clear. But if you look at Michelle's website herself, she gives you an example of how she worked with somebody. And to me, that was the best thing ever about her site, aside from the fact that it's beautiful. It's beautiful, it's clear, and it makes me feel very bad that mine is very complex. So unnecessarily so. So, I hope by the time this podcast is published that it is updated properly. Mine, that is askjoannevictoria.com. So when you're dealing with clients, let's just say you're dealing with the client and not just having them use your content, which they can find at michellepontvert.com. They can, do their own DIY, as you say, on their website. What is the most difficult thing people have to do? What is the hardest thing for them to do?
I think people often suspect that the tech is going to be the hurdle that they have to overcome. And I truly think with the right attitude, you can pick tech that is much more approachable. I think the hardest part is actually writing the text, getting into the brain of the person you want to work with or purchase your thing and writing the words that are going to help them connect with you. I think that is actually not that hard to do, but that mental hurdle of writing your website not at all about you or for you as a business owner, but really getting into the brain of that client, that customer you want to work with, and writing the words that connect with them using their words that they use to describe what it is you offer, what it is they're struggling with, how they are hoping to see the results that, working with you or purchasing your products will give them. I think that sort of mental gymnastics is where I see most clients stumble, and where I think we can do so much more work with our websites, have such better results when we get that right. So the tech is honestly secondary, but most people think that's the big scary thing.
Well, yeah, the big scary thing will always come first in anything, any kind of a relationship, even the relationship one has with their website. So, so tech is easy to overcome because today, of course, the newer platforms and the newer services that they provide make it easy, but also, and also you have to think of who's reading this. If you're looking for a prospect, they better be able to relate to what you've written.
Mm-hmm.
And not
Sorry.
My guess is that you don't like big, the alleged about page. You don't like big about pages, the backstory.
I don't mind an about page, but I do really encourage people, and I have a copywriting guide I provide in my website template kit, which is a kit to help people DIY their website, and I give the exact same thing to my one-on-one clients, because I think your about page is one of the most helpful pages to get people to connect with you as a business owner, the brand, the person behind that business. But I still encourage you to write that page from the perspective of that person coming to the website and reading it. And that mental gymnastics on an about page can make people really freeze up. But honestly, if you can get it right, basically sharing with that person why you're the right fit for them and what it is about you and the way you work that is going to support that specific person, it can have the most impact ultimately on how successful you are with working with that person, with getting those right fit clients. So it's one of the harder pages to write, but if you can get it on the nose, you'll be swimming in clients.
Well, that's good to know for those who are listening. Your about page is your story, and how your story is your life, and you will hopefully attract people who identify with your life and your success so that you can help them become a success in their own realm. Is that pretty much it?
That's 100% it. I think Donald Miller says it really well. It's the client story, but you are the guide, and you are there as a specific person to help them go from the point A where they're stuck to point B where they want to get to. And the about page is just sharing who this guide is that can help them get there. And it's for them to decide if that's the right guide for them or not. But we still need to share who we are and what we are doing so that people can identify if you're the right fit for them.
Yes. I mean, you're coming up with a different way of looking at a website from my experience and from the experience of some of my clients, because by and large, I see that web designers, whatever that really means, kind because they're not designing a web, they're designing your website. And that's a place where you don't reduce the word. It's a website designer. And most of them have their own methodology. And I think you have to identify that you feel safe and comfortable with your own web designer. And I think that's one of the reasons that you might be here helping people do their own website and give them the power.
Yeah, I think so. I think I never identified myself as like particularly techy. I can figure out, what to do, but I do find it hard hearing all these people coming who've had bad experiences being locked in with a website developer or not feeling confident in using this tool for their business. And I'm a fairly empathetic person. It just broke my heart. And I think I see it as my job to sort of translate all of that tech and that sort of strategy and make it approachable and accessible to those people who are starting out, who aren't quite ready for all of that, and who need to feel confident using their own websites.
So your DIY perspective, how do you find that a certain number of your people really want to do their own website, or would they prefer to hire you?
I get a mix, and I honestly have offers that meet people at different stages. I have a DIY kit that gives them all the tools to sort of shortcut the DIY process. So I really love those clients, and that's so much fun for me. I also work with people one-on-one, and it's sort of where people are most comfortable working at too. If they really, really feel out of their element, if it's so far out of their zone of genius to think about anything to do with visuals, anything to do with writing, anything to do with tech, then it's a much more supportive experience for them to work with someone who can do that and can do that quickly, versus those other people who really quite like the process, the creative process of creating their website. And working with a designer might not be the most sort of supportive experience for them. So I've structured my whole business so that I give people choices and they can find the right experience for them. Ultimately, the end result is very similar. They have a website that has all of the strategy behind it. It's whether I click the mouse or they click the mouse, or they get my sort of design aesthetic and input on it, or they have their own.
Well, your aesthetic, i.e. your website, is really grand because it's, my descriptors might be different than yours, but it's very light in the regard that I don't feel entrapped in content. Well, to me, that's important because it's like sometimes I'll go to a website and, oh God, get away. And it's too intense. And I think they're trying, some of the people's websites, the owners of them, they're trying to express either a personality that they want to have, but certainly not, hopefully not the personality that they do have, because, and I find differences between male and female websites. Big time. I mean,
me too.
Yeah, I know. And it's just amazing how you can spend an entire career just psychoanalyzing websites and website design.
It is fun.
So,
yeah,
it's just amazing how you're coming at this from a different perspective, in my opinion, because number one, you're giving the power to the owner of the website. This is what you're doing. It's their website. They can make that decision with your guidance and help, either from them using your one-on-one. What was your kit? What was that first one?
It's a website template kit. So it's a kit with all the different things they'd need, all the resources to make their website themselves.
Okay, write that down, listeners. Website template kit. And once you're looking at Michelle Pontvert's website, you'll see, because I've seen it, there's like 4 or 5 boxes of things that you can choose from. And so the biggest mistake is they're afraid of the tech. And I would say another error, I hate the word mistakes sometimes, but another error is there's too much content.
Yeah. I mean, I think like most things, careful editing is often much more impactful than just giving people everything. And I think as curators of this space. You know, a website is a space of technically real estate that we all own. We're the ones putting this space together, and it's for us to curate what people need to see and what's worthwhile for them to spend the energy looking at. How is it serving them and you as a business owner? And just shoving everything you've ever known at people is really overwhelming. And I truly believe, and this is my user experience background coming to speak, but giving people a really easy and seamless experience of using your website only serves them better, because they will be happier and have more confidence using that website, but they'll also be able to actually operate it technically much more easily. So they can actually work through those core pages we talked about earlier, where they're basically going through your sales journey. They're learning about you, they're learning about your offer, and making that choice if they want to work with you. If you've clouded all of that with 1,000 different pieces of resource and blogs and extra pages that aren't really working towards that ultimate customer journey from stranger to client, then you're diluting that experience for those people, but you're also clouding that for yourself and making it harder for people to work with you. So that careful kind of paring back of what we're sharing and being really thoughtful about what we present people is, I think, as much the challenge of figuring out what to do with our websites as all the rest of the things we talked about.
Those are very powerful words that you just put out, because I don't think people realize, as you said, people usually look at, oh, you don't need a website, it's just a business card, and it doesn't really matter, and whatever you do, that kind of thing. And then people, either they'll go the extra mile, their extra mile, and it's too dense and very difficult to find your way around. And you don't know what to do next, let alone first. I mean, seriously, it's like, where do I go? Where do I go? What do I do? And you just make it simple and clear, because you're putting a focus on the client, not the owner of the website. They just have to push over and, as you say, adapt and shift. So what can you tell our audience? What do you have something to give them so that they can start right now when they listen to this podcast and then go forward and edit their own website?
Yeah, so I have a training that I go into some of the key pieces that your website does need to help with conversion, with taking those people from strangers to clients. And I have a training that you're welcome to watch. There's a workbook that goes along with it. I'm a big fan of printing out those workbooks myself, so there's that. And you can find that at michellepontvert.com/converts. And I would love to hear how you get on. It is honestly one of my favorite things in business, hearing how people get on with some of my free resources. So I would love to hear, if you do go and watch that training, how you get on and what changes you make with your website.
Yeah, I mean, it really supports your work when people are able to follow your systems on their own.
Yeah.
If they are able to have content written, convert people to a buying client, and you're able to help them along this road, it supports how you present. Well, is there anything else that you would like to tell our audience today? I mean, I'm sure you have so much. I'm serious.
No, thank you. I think the overarching sort of theme of what I usually talk about is that mindset shift of your website being about the person you want to work with, the person you want to purchase something from you. And if nothing else, I can sink the idea in your mind of making your website about that client. It's going to serve you so well as you think through the copy, the text you write on the website, how you structure it, what pages you need. That kind of guiding light, I think, can only serve you well. So that would be my one big take home for you from this chat.
That's very important, Michelle. So Michelle can be found on Instagram and Facebook under Michelle Pontvert, Pontvert, as well as her website, Michelle, Michelle, 2 L's, Pontvert, Pontvert. And if you really want to get in touch with her right now, her email address is hello@michellepontvert.com. And I find your methodology very intense, because people don't realize how important their website is. And I think that the fact that you come up with information that's going to lighten the load, because I think that you have a method, you have a way of, you're face-to-face with your own career. You're helping women as well as men, parents, hopefully, with their own service-based businesses. And you are getting down to the bottom line of the purpose of a website and how it could benefit both the user and the owner. And you can't do much better than that.
I just want people to succeed. I think as people using our websites, as people building our businesses, there is nothing more gratifying, I think, than seeing each other succeed to uplift other people. And I truly infuse that in everything I do. So I love to hear that came out.
Well, you will. I want to thank Michelle Pontvert for being here today and helping you, the listener, redesign your own website with her help at michellepontvert.com/converts. And I want, as I always tell the listeners, re-listen to this podcast, because you will hear things that you missed, and get yourself a nice yellow pad and a pen and take notes, because what Michelle has to say is important. I want to thank Michelle for being here today from Paris, because I can't say that enough, from Paris, France. And thank you, Michelle, for being here and being the super guest about a great topic.
Oh, thank you so much again for having me. This was a pleasure.
I enjoy it myself. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye-bye. Take care. See you next time.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com to listen to more podcasts. Check out Joanne's coaching programs and get a free copy of her report, 5 Steps to Achieve Life-Work Harmony. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.